So now we're going to start the bittersweet truth about sugar and carb craving seminar. Now this seminar is actually perfect for people who are having trouble with their craving for sugar, or sometimes the challenge for their weight loss is because they can't stop themselves eating the food that they know is not good for them. And also people who are wondering why they're shaky or irritable when they're hungry, or we call that the hypoglycemic condition, or obviously we talk about the diabetic patients as well. Now let me ask you this question. What do you do when you're hungry or tired? As you can see, blood sugar is in the blood vessel here, and here's a hungry cell. So usually when you're hungry or tired, most likely you'll eat something sugary, or some bread or pasta, or even like you will have some coffee and things like that. So basically, when you eat sugar or simple carb, which is bread, pasta, noodle, you're going to increase the sugar in your blood vessel. And when that happened, the hungry cells cannot jump into the blood vessel to grab those sugar. So what would happen is you need somebody to deliver that for. And who's going to do that for you is your pancreas. Pancreas is going to produce insulin, which is a hormone, and a hormone is going to go into your blood vessel and grab those sugar and deliver to the hungry cell. And I call that, it's like when you're at home and you are hungry and you need somebody to deliver pizza for you. So basically you're ringed up pancreas or the pizza shop, and you say, I need some pizza, and so they actually have a pizza delivery man come over and deliver the pizza for you. So now after the hungry cell accept the sugar from the insulin, now the cell is going to be well fed, and so as you can see the happy cells here. But every time the pancreas produce insulin, they also need to report it to the brain. But basically what happened is, let's say if we have let's say you have a kid, and the kid actually just received 3 boxes of chocolate. What are you going to tell your kid? Most likely you're going to tell the kid, don't eat it too much, right? So basically that's what the brain's going to do to your cells as well. So if you have lots of blood sugar all the time, your brain is going to start sending signal to the cells, which we call downregulation. This downregulation is going to send signal to the cells, say don't eat it. But however, if you continue to eat more sugar, blood sugar is going to be delivered the insulin to the cells, and more signal is going to come from the pancreas to the brain. Now the brain is going to send more negative downregulation signal to the cells as well. And after the while, you're going to have all kinds of negative cells signal to around your cells, and now they actually can't accept any more sugar that's delivered by the insulin. Just like if you have the pizza delivery man have the pizza in their hand and knock on the door, and you just going to tell them like, sorry, I was told not to accept you. So what happened is, even you're hungry, you're still hungry, even the person is knocking on the door. And what happened is, when you're hungry, you're going to still complaining that you're hungry, right? So same thing with your cells as well. Your cells going to tell the signal to the brain, say, I'm hungry. So now your brain is going to be somewhat confused, because you're going to have signal come from the pancreas telling the brain that, hey, we deliver way too much insulin, the cell's going to have tons of sugar, so tell them not to eat too much. So brain's going to say, don't eat too much to the cells. But however, the other part of the brain is going to have a signal come from the cells as well that are hungry and say, I'm very hungry. So what brain's going to do is actually tell your body, say, eat. And that's when your body starts craving for sugar or carbohydrate, because your brain actually is confused. And craving for sugar or carbohydrate is actually a sign that your body can absorb your sugar. Now that's become very dangerous, because eventually the cell's going to continue to be hungry and the cell's going to die. Just your kid's going to sit at home, nobody's going to feed the kid, and eventually your kid's going to die. It's a very severe condition, right? And in this condition that we're talking about, we actually call it the insulin resistance type 2 diabetes. So what does that mean is, you have insulin, even though you're trying to deliver the sugar to the cells, now the cells is going to resist and say no to the sugar and the insulin as well. And eventually, cell dies. That's why diabetic is a very serious condition, because people can lose their vision. And why is their vision usually get lost first? Because in the eyeballs, all the blood vessels are very thin, cells are very delicate. And so when something very thin, very little, and very fragile, when they die first, you're going to lose function of that organ first. So usually vision is the first thing that goes. And so like distant body parts such as your legs is going to start dying as well. So that's why they have gangrene start building up their legs, and they might have to have amputation going on with their body parts as well. And eventually will have the cell death in liver and kidney and other body organs as well. So as you can see, it's a very severe condition. And however, when you take medication, most people think that medication is going to do a magical thing for them. But however, they don't realize just by taking medication, it's just putting more insulin, try to shove those sugar into the cells so they can actually be delivered to the cells. But it does not fix this whole condition where pancreas sends a signal to the brain and the brain sends a negative downregulation signal to the cells. So this condition still continues as you even take your medication for your diabetes condition. So the more sugar you eat without changing your diet, your cells is not going to improve the condition, because more pancreas is going to produce by the more insulin is going to produce by your insulin, and eventually what happened is you see how the pancreas produces more insulin, and eventually pancreas is going to get exhausted as well. So after that, then you're going to have less insulin being produced, and eventually pancreas is going to get exhausted and give up on you. Now, less or non-insulin being produced. You have what we call type 1 diabetes condition, where now you need injection for your blood sugar situation. And the bottom part still occur where cells still continue to be hungry and cells continue to die, but in a much faster rate. And that's one of the reasons why your diet has to change, in especially your diabetic condition, where if you don't change that just by taking medication, does not help you with your long-term outcome of your